Are you taking the ACT soon and wondering how you can rock the reading section and get a perfect score? If so, in this video, I'm going to teach you some strategies in a very quick format to helping you maximize your ACT reading score. If you're wondering who I am and why I should be telling you how to get a perfect score in the ACT reading section, I as an adult have scored perfectly on it. I've also helped coach several students to perfect scores individually on the ACT reading section. One notable instance this last year, I had a student who started at a 24. We did 2 one-hour lessons, private lessons on Skype. And then he took our best ACT prep course ever. He pretty much maxed out on the course and did a lot of work in that. And he went from a 24 originally on the reading section to a 36 to a perfect score. Pretty awesome, 12-point increase on that section. So I'm gonna share with you guys some of the tips that I shared with him. We also have a couple of books for the math section of the ACT, which are up on Amazon. We're still doing a few giveaways on our social channels. So make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because we will be announcing contests on those platforms and not necessarily on our YouTube when they hit. So follow us there, and totally for free, subscribe to our mailing list, SupertutorTV.com/subscribe, and we will keep you posted of any deals we have, of any price drops on our books, of any new products that we have, as well as our videos. We'll send you our latest videos every week and keep you in the loop. Cool. How do you get a perfect score on the reading section of the ACT? Well, a few tips. My first tip is do not read, manage the passage. Now, I don't actually mean don't read at all. That's not what I mean by do not read. What I mean by do not read is I want you guys to stop focusing on reading so much. I know it's called the reading section, but the truth is you get 0 points for reading every word in the passage. You get points for answering questions correctly. So your goal shouldn't just be to read every word or to fully understand the passage. It should be to get the questions right. So how do you do that? How do you make that adjustment? You start to think about managing the passage rather than reading the whole thing. What that means is you might need to skim at times. You always want to map your passage. What do we mean by map your passage? I know we've talked about it in some of our other videos, but in short, it means summarizing each paragraph for yourself so that you know what is where, as I like to say, so that you have like sort of a mental map or even a written out map if you write one little note next to each paragraph of what's this about, what's this about, what's this about. It's important that you see that from sort of a functional perspective as well. Like, what's the author's purpose in this paragraph? What's the author's purpose? Oh, to list off all the places he's visited over the last summer. You get what I'm saying, but what is each paragraph doing? If you can kind of have an idea of that, then figuring out where to go when you get to the questions is going to be a lot easier. My last tip on managing the passage is don't reread. Another mistake that people make is you guys think, oh, I didn't understand this little part. I'm going to keep rereading it until I understand it. Don't waste your time on 1 or 2 lines of the passage over and over again because you don't get it. There might not be any questions on that sentence. And if you just keep rereading, you're going to be wasting time. So keep moving, keep going, and it's going to help you out. Number 2, go back and find the answers. A huge mistake that a lot of students make is that you guys settle for guessing, or you treat this how you treat normal school reading, meaning that you read a passage and then you think you're supposed to memorize everything. And then you think, okay, now that I memorized all that, I'm just going to do the questions and not go back. I know that's how you do it at school because you don't have a lot of open book tests, but that's not how the ACT works. The ACT is open book. You have to go back and you have to be super precise about making sure that every answer choice answers the question. On the ACT, on 98% of the questions, there is a direct line that is very clear, direct evidence for the answer choice that you're choosing. So go back, find the answer, hug that passage. It is your source of truth. If you can't figure out which one is right, you need to get more evidence. Go back, go back, go back. Number 3, learn the test really well. My favorite way to learn the test is to do it slowly at first and then speed up. You've got to know and understand how this test works, how it asks questions, how it's out to get you. One of the best ways to do that is to use real tests. If you go to SupertutorTV.com/resources, we have several PDFs of actual authentic ACT exams that have been released. You can go check out those links, and that's a good place to start. Using real materials is always my favorite thing for prepping for the SAT. We've also got some SAT tests on there. So go check those out, take authentic tests, go over your answers, learn the test, and don't be afraid to slow down. Sometimes a good way to get a perfect score is to first try to slow down and get a perfect without time, and then speed up and manage the passage and work on your timing. Number 4, ensure that your vocabulary rocks. So oftentimes I have students hit a ceiling on the ACT because their vocabulary is not strong enough. So I really encourage you to build up your vocabulary. Get flashcards, get vocabulary building books. You can also just do practice passages and then write down every word that you didn't understand or highlight them as you read. And then after you read each passage, after you do a practice test, look up all those words, put them in flashcards. I like real flashcards over like Quizlet and online flashcards, but whatever works for you is cool. All right, number 5, avoid extremes. Now we're getting into sort of some trends of the test. A lot of times wrong answers on the ACT are really extreme. So make sure you're avoiding extreme answer choices when you look at what's available. Number 6, half right is not right. Another mistake students make, they fall in love with half of an answer choice and they don't actually look at the second half of the answer choice, or there's 2 or 3 words that they missed that aren't accurate at all. So make sure the whole thing's right, not just half of it. Number 7, reasonable can be right, but it doesn't have to be. So on the ACT, oftentimes there are answer choices that sound reasonable, and then there are answer choices that just sound ridiculous or extreme, for example. You always want answer choices to be right, and usually that means that they're reasonable, but reasonable isn't enough to make an answer choice right. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean it's what the passage said. And sometimes the passage will surprise you. It will say something randomly that you didn't expect or that didn't seem as reasonable as something else. So you can't just trust reasonable. Finally, consider reordering your passages. Because you're trying to get a perfect score, you need to leverage every little tiny trick and tool that you can. Think about doing your passages out of order. You can even think about doing questions out of order, but just make sure that you're utilizing every strategy possible to try to eke out every point you can. You might find that there's a particular order in which you're able to maximize your personal test performance. So just something to think about. But there you go. There's some quick tips for how to get a perfect score on the ACT reading section. I hope you guys like this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Because like I said, we totally had a girl write us last week and say she got a 36 on the ACT, and she just watched our videos like the night before and she brought her score up like several points. So there you go, guys. Subscribe. It could be good. I hope your prep goes well. Let us know how it's going. Tell us in the comments below this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.